All right, y'all. Now that we've laughed at the bullshit, we've laughed at the chaos, and we faced the headlines head on, it's time to shift some gears. Because while the news can be heavy, there's power in the people who are stepping up, breaking barriers, and showing us how change really happens. Let's talk about the leaders who refuse to stay in the shadows, the voices that won't be silenced, and the bold choices being made to move our communities forward. This is Black Voices, Bold Choices. I'm highlighting the unapologetic, the unstoppable, and undeniably inspiring leaders making a difference on today. All right. So let's give some flowers where they're due, y'all. Let's give some flowers where they're due. Vice President Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris. Not only was she the first woman, the first Black woman, and the first South Asian American VP, she is breaking barriers still every day. Her 107-day presidential campaign in 2024 showed us what grassroots energy and bold leadership look like, from coalitions like Beehive for Kamala to national organizing that made headlines. She's been on the front lines for voting rights, Black maternal health, student debt relief, and justice reform, issues that directly shape our communities. Yet too often, we know the media minimizes her wins while magnifying her flaws. Representation matters, and so does execution. Kamala Harris is more than a politician. She's a cultural force, y'all, inspiring the next generation of unapologetic leaders, y'all. And not only Kamala, y'all, but from the vice president to Congress, leadership is being redefined. I want to spotlight some other trailblazers challenging the status quo and demanding some change, y'all. Let's talk about that firecracker from Texas. I think y'all know who I am talking about. Let's talk about Jasmine Crockett.
Come together like yesterday. Because the most patriotic thing that we can do in this country is decide that we are going to be one. Yes. We lost this election because they divided us. Here's the reality. Now I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. I don't really care where you stand on a lot of different issues. I'm gonna be real about it.
Yes.
There are people that say, well, I don't agree with abortion. I do. But there are people that feel that way. Fine.
Right.
There are people that literally bought into this idea that it was going to be immigrants that was going to take their jobs and their opportunities. They divided us.
Right.
But let me tell you, they are sitting up there saying, go and fight over 1% and ignore the 99%.
Yes.
We can walk and chew gum in this country. I am telling you, I have seen the budget. While they are sitting up there saying, oh, you know what? We have to cut healthcare. We have to cut food assistance. We have to cut educational funds. And it's all so that we can make sure we get out of debt while at the same time driving us into more debt.
Right.
Jasmine Crockett, ladies and gentlemen, Jasmine fucking Crockett. We all know that she's fearlessly calling out systematic oppression and always fighting for equality in Congress, y'all. She is a firecracker. I hope she does more with her career. We love us some Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett, thanks for what you're doing, speaking up, speaking out with all the bullshit that we got going on. Thank you so much for that. Let's talk about Governor Wes Moore out of Maryland, another great trailblazer that is just blazing and putting fire out in these streets, y'all. Let's talk about him a little bit. Wes Moore.
And I'm locked in because these are not glancing blows that are coming to the state of Maryland. These are direct shots. When the President of the United States has now fired over 12,000 Marylanders who are federal workers, people who are doing things like making sure that our food is safe and making sure that our critical infrastructure is protected. When the President of the United States looks at historic floods taking place in Western Maryland, and when we put in for federal disaster relief support, which we qualified for, and we simply get a response from the White House saying support from Maryland is not warranted. when we get an FBI building that we worked for 10 years and across all quantitative levels to say should be going to the state of Maryland, and the president of the United States says the FBI building is not going to Maryland because it is a liberal state. Listen, I don't come from the world of politics. I'm a soldier, and I'm standing my guard. And we are locked in to make sure that our people will continue to grow and thrive and succeed in this moment, despite the fact that we're watching a federal government who seems to make my communities and our neighborhoods some kind of punchline, instead of understanding that when you're talking about the people of Baltimore, what you are forgetting is they're also Americans too, and they hear you loud and clear.
Ooh, Governor Westmore, baby. Governor Westmore said, I am a soldier in the army of the Lord. I think in another interview somewhere, he said that he wasn't a simp. You know what I'm saying? So Governor Westmore out of Maryland is doing the damn thing. He is pushing racial equality, environmental justice, and bold economic opportunities up in Maryland, y'all. And I think he has a great career in front of him. People saying that he may run for president in 28, or he's going to run for governor again of Maryland. So we just never know. But he is a brother to watch out for. So y'all keep Westmore in your thoughts, and look them up on Instagram and Facebook, as well as Jasmine Crockett. They give out great information, and they always talking good shit and always getting into some good trouble. All right, so let's move on. There's another trailblazer, the mayor of Chicago. You know, Chicago has been in the news a lot lately. And so Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago, let's check him out.
From the federal government, $800 million that he took from cities like Chicago for violence prevention. What a slap in the face to the people who serve this city to try to override local authority, ensure that we are collaborating to get guns off the streets of Chicago. We're stopping guns being trafficked in from states that voted for him. And so now we do all of this hard work, this group assignment in the city of Chicago, and he wants to come at the end of the year before the assignment is due to try to put his name on the paper. He is reckless and out of control. He is the biggest threat to our democracy than we've experienced in the history of our country.
Brandon Mayor Johnson. Mayor Brandon Johnson, of Chicago. He talking that good shit too, y'all. We have a lot of trailblazers out here that is just fighting for us, and now that they're speaking out and just putting themselves out there on a national stage, not just a local stage, but a national stage. He started as a labor organizer, and he became the mayor on centering community-based solutions over pricing. You know, the lesson that I just wanted to tell y'all was real change doesn't just come from Washington or from a mayor's office or governorship. It comes from all the unapologetic leaders who aren't afraid to demand justice. They're proving every day that Black liberation and progress are alive, possible, and powerful in the 21st century. And that's what Black Voices, Bold Choices is all about. I wanted to celebrate the visionaries. I wanted to amplify their impact. And they're reminding us that progress is made by those willing to step up, willing to speak out, and act boldly. All right. And these leaders remind us that progress doesn't happen by accident, y'all. It happens because people organize. They do shit. They speak out. They speak up, and they demand change. It's not just about them. It's about us. If Kamala, Jasmine, Wes, Brandon, and so many others can push unapologetically inside the system, then we've got to push outside of it. You got to push. That means registering to vote, getting your ass out to vote, organizing and holding people accountable at every level, because democracy only works if we work it. It only works if we work it. And we just can't be silent anymore. We just can't be. It's serious out here, y'all. No longer can we be silent. We got to push. Your vote and voice. Knowledge is power, but action is everything. So what can you do to make sure your voice counts. As we wrap up today's episode, let's talk about how you can stay informed, engaged, and empowered. Because being informed isn't just about knowing the damn news, y'all. It's about using that knowledge to make change. Your voice matters. Don't sit on the sidelines. Be unapologetically involved this week and beyond, because every action counts. So here are your unapologetic actions for this week and beyond. Protect your power at the polls. Make sure you're registered to vote. You can register to vote at vote411.org, vote.gov, vote.org. You can Google how to vote, how to register to vote. One of your local elections going on. You got to be empowered. And you got to figure out that information without anyone telling you that, because sometimes we can be willfully ignorant. And so we don't need to be willfully ignorant. Know your polling place. All right? Help your family, help your friends, do the same. Every single vote matters, especially in our communities, all right? We got to stay informed. We have to stay informed. Follow credible sources like Unapologetically Informed. Check your local government updates and always fact check before you share. Knowledge is power. Support Black communities. Shop at Black-owned businesses. Give to nonprofits and back projects that strengthens our neighborhoods. You know, support Black-led organizations like Fair Fight Action, the NAACP, and Black Voters Matter. Use your voice. Social media is powerful, but so are real conversations. Share what you learn. Spark critical discussions and encourage others to do the same and get involved. Remember, action doesn't have to be big to be powerful. Each step builds momentum. Stay unapologetic, stay informed, and stay undeniable. Please. All right, my good people, you've got the tools. You've got the knowledge, and now it's time to stay unapologetic in how you show up. That's a wrap. That's a motherfucking wrap for today's episode, the first episode of Unapologetically Informed. We've cut through the noise, we've named the truth, and we've highlighted the stories that matter to our communities. Remember, being informed isn't enough, y'all. Action is where the power is. Every small step adds up to real change. This show is for us. Remember that. It's by us. Unapologetic, unfiltered, undeniable. And I'm just getting started. I'm Anthony Maurice. Stay loud, stay engaged, and never let anyone silence your voice. I'll be back with more politics, more culture, and more power from my perspective, my Black ass perspective. Because remember, silence is no longer an option. Until next time, keep pushing, keep speaking, and keep owning your power. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.